vocal myth is if you smoke and drink excessively, especially whiskey, can you add a husky quality to your voice? This is something that I see talked about in the press where certain voices are called a whiskey tenor, sounds like they've been hanging out in bars. And this idea that people who have husky vocal quality or texture or timbre have gotten that quality because they do a lot of drinking whiskey or they smoke a lot. And I have found that absolutely not to be true. Now, that said, it's not as if you can't trash your voice and your health by excessive partying. And because, honestly, we can point to lots of bands that have done exactly that, and they are not as fresh as they are now because of their lifestyle. Anything that we do that affects our health is ultimately going to affect our voice because we play our instrument, which is our body. So having a great health is important. But that said, smoking and drinking don't necessarily affect the voice to completely change its quality. People that have quit smoking have found they have greater breath and mucus and other things clean up, but the vocal texture is what you're really born with. Some voices have a really clean, clear texture, more like a trumpet or a flute, where other voices have naturally more of that husky saxophone type quality. I had a girl once in my studio a few years back, and she was 15, and she had that very earthy Bonnie Raitt voice. Now, I'm pretty certain she wasn't hanging out in bars or smoking excessively. She was born with that. So she had the bone structure in her face and the body type that allowed her to have that nice, rich, full-bodied sound. Likewise, a few years back, I had a tenor. He was a high lyric tenor, and he had this very sweet, smooth, romantic, girly type of voice, very smooth and gentle, and he would come to my lessons and he reeked of cigarettes. So obviously he'd been smoking on the whole ride there. Excessive smoker, extremely. Yet his voice was very pure and smooth. So with that said, part of being a singer is to accept the voice that you have. We take lessons, we build our techniques so we have greater control, but we also work with the tone quality we have and kind of work with that and accept it and use it to our best benefit. So if you have what you consider a clean, clear sound, please don't take up smoking and drinking in the idea that you can create a huskier, fuller voice sound. It's not going to happen, and you're probably only going to damage your health, and it's not a recommended thing. Now, if you do want to learn to get a little grit in the sound, you can study how to get a little bit of screamo, a little scratch in the voice, and I highly recommend Melissa Cross's material to learn on how to create that sound in a very easy way. It's not going to change the texture of your voice, but it's a little trick to give you a little bit of grit.